Hello students, today we will start our new chapter Industrial Hazards and Plant Safety. Okay, so I Sheetal Mishra, Assistant Professor from Bharati University, will explain you that what are the various topics and the parts which comes under our new chapter Industrial Hazards and Plant Safety. So let us start industrial hazards. Okay, so while we start our chapter, let me introduce you with some uh, common terminologies of this chapter, like hazard. What do you mean by hazard? You should know the meaning of some common terms like this. Hazard means it is a term associated with a substance that is likelihood to cause an injury in a given environment or situation. Okay, so hazard is what? It is a term which is associated with a substance that is likelihood to cause an injury in a given environment or in situation. And what will be industrial hazard? So industrial hazard is what? It is defined as any condition that has been produced in the industries, okay, which may cause any injury or death to the personal or loss of product or the property. Okay, so this will be your industrial hazards. Next terminology is safety. Everybody knows that what is safety. So in simple terms, we can say that freedom from the occurrence of the risk or injury or loss can be coined as safety. So what will be the industrial safety or plant safety or employee safety? Okay, so it can be referred as the protection of the workers from the danger of the industrial accidents. There are n number of uh, conditions, consequences is been present in the industries. Okay, so like some toxic and corrosive chemicals are there, fire is there, explosions can occur, and a personal falling into the accidents are the major health and safety hazards that is encountered in the operations of chemical and pharmaceutical related industries. Okay, so the identification of those hazards and employing the protective measures to control the hazards are important to protect the people from their consequences. Okay, so accident prevention needs systematic and technical study of every aspect of the plant design and operation. Okay, so today's industries employs user friendly machineries, so which can withstand human error and equipment failure also. So in our first slide you can see that industrial safety is equals to what? Reduction of the hazards, control over that, and eliminate it, so we can have a safe environment for each and every one of us. Okay, so plant safety differs from the traditional approach of prevention of accidents in number of ways. Like what? There is more concern with the accidents that arise out of the technology. There is more emphasis on foreseeing hazards and taking action before any kinds of accidents occur. Okay, and there is more emphasis on the systematic methods of identifying the hazards and estimating the probability that they will occur and what are their consequences also. Okay, and there is concern with the accidents that cause damage to the plants and loss of the profit. Last but there are several traditional practices and standards are looked at more critically. Okay, so this chapter will deal with a few general aspects of industrial hazards, accidents, and the emerging areas of industrial safety management. Okay, so now let us moving towards the types of industrial hazards. What can be the type of industrial hazards? You can see that it's written over here that it is of various types, like biological hazards, fire and explosion hazards, electrical hazards, chemical hazards, gas hazards, mechanical hazards, dust hazards. These all are various types of industrial hazards. Okay, so we will study in detail about each and every aspect. what is being mentioned over there. So now moving towards biological hazards. What is a biological hazards? It is the hazard that originates from any organism. It may be foreign or to the organism that is being affected. Okay. Many biological hazards are associated with food, like which include certain viruses, parasites, means infected food. If any kind of infected food is present, okay, so it may contain various types of microorganisms like viruses, parasites, fungi, bacteria, and plant and seafood toxins also. And third one is, it is a condition of a disease in any human that can come from the biological hazards in the form of infection by bacteria, antigen, car, plane, bus, viruses, parasites, etc. Okay, so this was the biological hazards. Next one is fire and explosion hazards. Means what can we count it on? Fire and explosion hazards. What are the various causes of that? Overheating of the electrical appliances, if the appliances are getting overheated. Second is your high surface temperatures, sparkings, flammable liquids, aerosols, electrical wiring in poor condition, carelessness. These all are the various reasons for fire and explosion hazards. Okay. Many spontaneous combustion and non-explosion proof electrical equipment is the potential ignition source for that. Okay. So the effect of fire on people take the form of skin burns due to the explosion of thermal radiation, and the severity of the burns depends on the intensity of the fire and the explosion timing. Okay. Then the fire occurs in the industry more frequently than explosions, and the toxic releases also, although the consequences in terms of loss of life is generally less. Okay, but it doesn't make any changes. Therefore the fire might be less hazardous. Fire can take several different forms, including jet fire, pool fire, boiling liquid, expanding vapor explosion, like this. Okay, so what are the preventive measures on this? So how can we control the fire and explosion? Okay, so fire protection is an important part of a good housekeeping, since a single fire or explosion can spread to adjoining units. Okay, so fire protection are applicable to the bulk drug industries, whether may be synthetic, biological, or microbiological. Government regulations are available for fire and safety protection. Okay, so first of all, the careful plant layout and the judicious choice of constructional materials can reduce the fire and explosion hazards. Okay, hazardous operations should be isolated by conducting them in the separate buildings. It will reduce the chances of getting fire caught. Fire resistance brick walls or reinforced concrete walls can limit the effects of any explosion. The roof should be designed to lift it easily under an explosive force. Okay, possible sources of fire are reduced by eliminating the unnecessary ignition sources such as flames, spark, heated material, matches, smoking, welding, cutting, and static electricity, etc. Means, first of all, we should check over the building construction. It should be constructed in such a way that fire cannot be spread from one building to another. When combustible construction is involved, the firewall cutoffs should be provided. These cutoffs should be standard firewall of at least 13 inches of brick or of equal construction with all the door openings, okay, properly protected with single or double automatic fire doors. Okay, so in construction, what can we include? Exit points. Exit points must be of adequate capacity, should be provided so as to enable the employees to reach a place of safety outside the building in case of fire. Every factory or working space should have at least 2 exit points from each story. Okay, and the fire alarm equipment, there must be fire alarm equipment. These systems are placed in conspicuous locations in all parts of the plant for promptly notifying the fire brigade and for exit of the employees. Okay, this system operate on electrically supervised circuit. and these systems are mounted so that accidental operations are not caused by the vibration when they are installed inside the building. Okay. Fire alarm systems can warn the presence of smoke, radiation, elevated temperature and increased light intensity. Each and everything must be under control. Okay. So the few fire alarm system like examples are thermal expansion detector, heat sensitive insulation detector, photoelectric fire detector, ionization or radiation sensors, okay, or UV or IR detectors. The radiation if emitted from the fire and the flames are detected, and accordingly the alarm is getting activated, so ringing it. Okay. Third one is the fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are always installed inside the uh, designing constructions, okay, and these are designed for extinguishing the incipient fires. Okay. So the incipient fires can be divided into three categories, like class A fire, okay, class B fire, and third one is class C fire. Class A fire means, what is this class A fire? These are the fires that are originated from ordinarily combustible material. Okay, these fires are controlled using water or any solution containing large percentage of water, which produces quenching and cooling effect also. So water filled extinguishers must be there. In this type, what happened, the sulfuric acid is placed in one chamber and the sodium bicarbonate is placed in the another. When the fire is to be put off, the sulfuric acid chamber is broken so that the reaction takes place between sulfuric acid and sodium bicarbonate, that is acid base reaction. Okay, and what happens, carbon dioxide is produced which exert high pressure in the container, and water is pushed out through the discharge pipe at high pressure. As the water falls on the hot surface, it exerts cooling effect, and this further this cooling effect, the vapor displaces the oxygen from the site of burning, thus the extinguishing of fire is achieved. Okay, so this was all for today, students. Class B fires and class C fires will be I will explain you the two types of fires in our fire control safety measures, okay, in our next video. So this was all for today. Thank you.